But yeah, anyway, this is Ukrainian terrorism, what they're doing in Ukraine to Russians. Intentionally like targeting a minibus filled with civilians. And then the Ukrainian forces on the battlefield. Well, they're not on the battlefield, sorry, what am I talking about? I think I've read something in the chat. It made me confused. But yeah, they continue to kidnap civilians every day and force them into war with Russia. Like, this is happening a lot. We've covered this a lot on our streams, but we do need to keep showing everyone that most of the Ukrainians, they don't actually want to fight, you know. All the ones that did want to fight already signed up for the war. They're already in the war, or they've already been killed. And they're running out of people. They're trying to lower the age even more. Like, they want to try and send basically kids out to fight now. Because no one wants to fight for Ukraine anymore. They're not stupid. I think the last people in Ukraine that are actually not in war want to spend time with their families. They don't want to be involved in this shit. But they're getting dragged off the streets and like probably like tranquilized, like whatever, like put in a sleeper hold or something and forced out to war. And here's one of the videos. So yeah, that's just a normal day in Ukraine. Putin will... Yeah, no, but Putin is obviously fighting, of course, yeah, all of NATO and stuff as well. Oh, sorry, I saw that message after. Like, Ukraine's, like, unfortunately just like a proxy. It's like, the West, like, the thing is with, like, Ukraine is the US and UK and all these countries, they basically want to go to war with Russia, but they don't want to do it on their own soil. They don't want to damage their own country. They don't want to lose their own people. And they've always pushed Putin into this position, you know. He's been saying it for years that this was going to happen, but they don't care. Because America and these countries think they're like the big bullies and they do what they want. But Putin's basically just not an idiot, you know. He's not going to put up with this shit. And he warned them. But the thing is, our countries, they don't actually care, like, because it's not our people that we're losing. As much as Russia isn't taking much losses, they are still taking some losses. So it's a win in a way for our country to keep, first of all, money laundering and taking all of our tax money for this shit. And two, it is weakening Russia. Not a lot, but it is keeping them occupied. For example, we were saying earlier, they can't really get involved with Palestine as much as they'd probably like to because they've got all their own problems with this shit going on. They're obviously costing Russia money. They're losing Russia's men. So, meanwhile, you know, the Biden cabinet and all these will just sit there, keep rinsing the taxpayers and keep funding it. So, yeah. Anyway, and yeah, they don't give a shit about Ukrainians. That's one thing they don't care about as well. They're just a pawn for them. They don't care about Zelensky. He's a propped up puppet as well. Sad world we live in. But yeah, forced mobilization continues in Ukraine. There's more videos.
Позвоните в полицию. Откуда из подсказок? Что вы делаете? Вставайте быстро.
Сюда иди. Помогите. Парни, помогите.
В полицию, пожалуйста. Что вы делаете? Встаньте. На кого вы похожи?
Не дави на руку. Рука. Не двигайся. Помогите. Не двигайся. Парни, помогите. Меня сутки удерживают в банкомате. Незаконно. Помогите.
Yeah, sad, honestly sad. It is really sad because that's the difference between Israel and Ukraine, you know. Like, a lot of, I'm pretty much say everyone in Israel is practically agrees with what's going on. They all want the land, even if they don't agree with Netanyahu. They agree with some other genocidal person who wants to take over and take the land. In Ukraine, though, there's obviously a lot of people that are like neo-Nazis and they do agree with it, but the majority, the ones that are left that we see every day, seem to not want to be involved, you know. Yeah, and it is crazy that all of these countries are fighting Russia and they still can't beat them. And Putin will not give up. He will not. He will never. Look at Russia's history. Have they ever really lost a war? Russia's known to be like, you know, savages. Like, even if you watch anything like don't know if you guys watch boxing or UFC, it's always the Russian guys that are just undefeated and absolute animals. I think like these people are just built different, you know. They've been through a lot of shit. They're constantly in wars and stuff their whole life. So thinking that all of these countries could take on Russia is really stupid. And yeah, a lot of them do agree with Putin, because it's, for example, like they know that Zelensky don't care about them, and some of them might not even really like Putin that much, but they just know that like they know the real goals. You know, they probably just want their own benefits put first. They become an independent state for a reason, so that they can make their own choices, and instead they're just getting dictated by the West. I'm sure they'd much rather be a part of Russia than just be another NATO puppet, you know, another person that's going to cause another world war. But yeah, and then look, this is what I said, sorry, on this caption. We see these scenes every single day in Ukraine. Women breaking down in tears as their sons and husbands are forced to go and die. Yet Zelensky still won't call for peace. It's heartbreaking.
Боже ж! Що ви робите йому? Що ви теж будете бити? Удариш зараз. Це поліцейські наші.
Що ви, блядь, робите? Ви долбойоби? Відпустіть його. Що ви робите? Алло, я, блядь, до вас говорю чи ні? Що ви трогаєте, блядь? Відпустіть людину, блядь. Що ви робите? Підари, блядь, йобані. Чого ви, блядь, самі не пиздуєте? Відпустіть, блядь. Відпусти, підар, блядь. Що ти, блядь, пихаєш ту бабку?
So I'm just smiling, I just see it come up on the screen, Zelensky, the cokehead in a tracksuit. I know, man, it's crazy.
Тікай ти, блядь. Що ви робите, блядь? Долбойоби, блядь.
Душе! Тікайте, не забрали мій телефон, мою куртку.
Ви що, блядь, розуму, блядь, немає, блядь, чи що?
Дайте мені мій телефон. Порвали мені куртку, блядь.
Чого ви, блядь, самі не йдете на війну? Якого хуя, блядь? Якого хуя?
And yeah, you said she sounds like she's witnessing injustice. Let's actually see what the original person said. Diana, there's like a really good interview I'd recommend you guys watch. I haven't even watched it yet, but I just know it'll be such a good interview. Jackson done an interview with her earlier today. He posted it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I was going to watch it on stream, but it's so late right now. I'm probably just going to watch it at my own time tomorrow, because I'm not sure if I'll be streaming tomorrow, but I definitely advise everyone to go and watch it. It's on Jackson's page, her page, and legit targets, I'm pretty sure. But this is basically what happened. Every day Ukrainian women fight with Zelensky's commissions to free Ukrainian men. The woman will never forgive Zelensky, and we should stop the war. And just to let you guys know, this is a like a journalist from Ukraine, you know, like she's not Russian, she lives in Ukraine, she was the journalist of the year in Ukraine. And she does not agree with Zelensky. Like, no one agrees with Zelensky. It's all propaganda. The only people that are pushing for this war so much are the people in the West, you know, people that aren't from Ukraine. People that have other interests in mind. They don't care about the Ukrainian people. But yeah, look, here's the interview there. So you should go watch that. It's going to be definitely very interesting to hear what she's got to say, you know. I'm going to definitely watch that later, probably tomorrow. But anyway, what's everyone saying in the chat? You said, what point do the Ukrainian people say enough's enough? The problem is they're saying enough's enough. That's why they're getting dragged off the streets and forced into this, you know. There is no enough. They can't. They don't have a choice. The only thing that can happen is for Zelensky to call for a peace deal, and we know that that's never going to happen. He's not allowed to call for a peace deal. He's a puppet. If he probably come out and call for a peace deal, Zelensky would probably be randomly assassinated, you know, and then they'll just blame Putin for that, and it'll probably just be the West that killed him as well. What happens to all the other people that they load up and fund, you know? They always end up dead. So, I don't think Zelensky's allowed to call for a peace deal, and I don't think he wants to anyway. There was one peace deal on the table back in, was it March 2022 or April, around that time, around springtime. And Boris Johnson came in and threw the peace deal out the window. He said, no, we don't want peace. We need to continue. We're going to defeat Putin, blah, blah, blah. Now look, 2 years down the line, it's still going. Nearly 3 years down the line, and it's still going on. And it's just getting worse. And even Putin said, "This is a crime against the Ukrainian people." Putin slammed Kiev's plans to lower the mobilization age, and he believes that just as the Ukrainian men have been caught in the streets like stray dogs and sent to face bullets, young boys will now be sent to do the same. And that's the saddest part, because, you know, sometimes we see like these grown men and they'll like fight back, and like they'll be big and strong men, and they'll like, you know, these like Ukrainian like these army men will not be able to handle them. You know, some of them, they'll get thrown off and then they'll just end up giving up and walking off. What about when there's like 16-year-old kids that are still in school and like, you know what I mean, they're not eating properly because they're not at the age when they're just not got a lot of weight to them, and then these big Ukrainian like armed forces come and grab them off the streets, like they're not gonna have a chance. It's really sad, honestly. Sorry, there's been a lot of chat since then. I'm just gonna quickly look before I play the video. Yep, Zelensky acts like nothing happened. It's a police state, I agree. Even after the war, Zelensky will have a golden retirement in Switzerland and Washington. He's probably already got like a penthouse out there. I'm pretty sure he's got like loads of houses in Miami and shit. So doesn't surprise me. This could happen in the UK. Yeah, not surprised. We've already seen UK mercenaries in Russia. They was in the Kursk region getting captured as well. So probably we're gonna run out of men and start trying to grab fucking people like me off the streets. You know, fuck me. I'll end up just saying, just kill me, you know, or put me in prison or some shit. I'm not going to fight against Russia. And if I end up getting to the stage where I got like tranquilized and forced onto the field, I'll just run out with a white flag or something and fucking hope someone knows. Hope someone saves me, you know. Hopefully I don't get against some guy who's just going to snipe me or some shit. I'll try and show my X page or some shit. If hopefully it's not too late by then. But, yeah. Putin said the Ukrainian war will stop or will not. Wait, it will stop. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you don't stop, there will be no Ukrainians. It is getting close to that stage as we speak. But yeah, it is on everyone else. It's the West and the funding. If they didn't have funding, then it wouldn't have carried on for nearly nowhere as long. Yeah, switch sides to Russia. But yeah, that's what I mean. That's the only thing I'm hopeful about Donald Trump, because I know Donald Trump Jr. was saying that as soon as his dad's in office, he's gonna cut all the funding, and that would be very good. But the only problem is with that is I feel like you'll get that cut funding and just send that all to Israel instead. But at least this one war stops, but I feel like it's going to double the other war. So, I don't know. Time will tell. It's next month now. We're on the 17th today. So, crazy. It's very close. But let's watch this video quickly.
So, is this statehood? No. This is clear signs of the loss of statehood. So, I think if they reduce the mobilization age, lower the service age, it will not change the situation in the battlefield like it didn't for Hitler's Germany. But it will be one in a series of crimes they commit against their people. It doesn't protect the interests of the Ukrainian people. Such a decision would only protect the decisions of those who give decisions from abroad. That is the only motivation. Young boys will be herded and sent to be slaughtered. We saw how they are being caught in the streets like stray dogs and sent to face the bullets. And now they'll be sending young boys to do that.
Yeah, even Putin, like, you could tell Putin's got a heart, you know, like, he doesn't want this war. He didn't want this war for years. We watched a really good documentary before on stream called Ukraine on Fire, and I always recommend everyone to watch it. That actually got me a copyright strike on my YouTube. It got me completely demonetized, but it was worth it because we had a lot of people in the chat that had never seen it before, and it really gives you like because the film was from like 2018, so this is like 4 years, like, or maybe it was even 2017. It's like 4 or 5 years before this really kicked off, and you could see like the stuff that was actually going on before. You know, when they say everything did happen, everything didn't start on October 7th, like it really didn't start in February 22 as well. So yeah, and then Putin said Russia is not fighting the Ukrainian people, but a neo-Nazi regime in Kiev which seized power in 2014. The people who are in power in Ukraine commit crimes daily against their own people and against the Russian people. And then Trump, of course, the same speech earlier. He's only briefly mentioned it, but he says we will be talking to President Putin. It was only like a 5-second clip.
we're going to be talking. We'll be talking to President Putin, and we'll be talking to the representatives, Zelensky and representatives from Ukraine. We got to stop it. It's carnage.
So yeah, I think that I think Putin's more up for peace than Zelensky, unless Trump just comes out with some absolutely like bullshit peace proposal that no one's going to agree to, and then Putin's going to say basically fuck off, and then it could end up getting worse. But I feel like that won't happen. I feel like it'll be Zelensky that says no. And yeah, they have all like UK. Have you ever guys like? I'm not sure if you guys like how old you all are in the chat or whatever, but like when I was a kid, I used to play like Call of Duty a lot, like Modern Warfare 2 and shit like that. And I never really realised until I got to like this age now that if you ever noticed in all these like Call of Duty games and stuff, they always like make you fight against like the Russians, and they make them like the enemies. I remember playing that Modern Warfare 2, and then like in the campaign mode, you go into terminal, and then you're the Russians. You're playing as the Russians in this mission, and then you're just like killing loads of civilians and shit for no reason. Like, so like they always try and like, you know, when you're like a kid, it's easy. It's like you've seen it now with all of the crazy like shit that happens in the world, how they push everything on the children. And it's like back then, like we didn't realise we were just playing Call of Duty and all that, and then oh, there's like foxes outside going mental. Sorry, that wall put me off. But yeah, when you're a kid, there's like they're trying to like indoctrinate you. You know, they're trying to brainwash you to make you think that Russia's the enemy. Like you're always fighting against like the Spetsnaz, and it's just a bit, you know, when you grow up, you sort of realise. But they've always tried making Russia the enemy. For what reason?